Welcome everybody to episode 174
We made
of
it.
The China Show. Yeah, so this is
Memorable
a
number.
double whammy week.
It is. You got 2 shows in a week for all old lang syne.
Yeah, whatever that means.
We still don't know what that means, and
Yeah.
I'm not Googling it.
No need. So we've got quite the show today, and we're going to be covering a range of topics from the gold thing you saw in the title to the Fukushima nuclear discharge.
Yes.
Sounds fantastic. And everything in between. So let's get right into it and saunter right into it with what's new. And this is when we talk about what's new, specifically with regards to China. And guess what? You know what?
What? Chicken butt.
Amazing. China's high-speed railway infrastructure. Yeah.
We had a good field day with this last episode. Zhang Heqing,
Yes.
a Chinese official.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about his backstory after this
You want to do
little
that?
segment.
Okay, first
Yeah.
we'll look at this.
So this, of course, is a Chinese official, and he posts propaganda on behalf of China, obviously. Like all Chinese officials on Twitter, that's all they do.
Yes.
And they shouldn't be allowed on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it.
You mean the X with a marble, like
Yeah.
the... Like,
Yeah, early 2000s GNOME desktop Linux background looking thing. Anyway, here's the thing. He posts this. Let's just take a look at this wonderful thing over here. And, let's make sure the audio is working. But here you go. Yes.
Wait a minute. What was that sound?
I have no idea. That was part of it.
That was just part of it.
It's part of it,
A
yeah.
horrific whistle train beep.
It sounded like it was just blown out.
Like,
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's...
But, I mean, for those of you taking a glance at this, you might think, oh, look, train infrastructure.
Would you though?
Look a little closer at the trains, okay? I mean, it's like, what is this train? This isn't a train.
It gets smaller because it's the wrong perspective. It's a still image, basically, in Photoshop. And they're animating it across a fake rail, which
Yeah.
is probably procedurally generated if you look at it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, whatever it is, it's rubbish.
It's all
Look at
fake.
this. It reminds me of like old cartoons or something where they try to
Yeah.
move something along, you know?
Yeah, it's like cardboard cutout.
It's bad.
Play
Anyway,
it again.
I will. Let's go from the beginning. Remember, this is Chinese propaganda from a Chinese official. Ouch. I mean... Every...
There's some ear rape.
Yeah, it's really bad. But these are all fake trains, okay?
Yeah. Those ain't no real trains. That is incredibly bad. That is so embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine you're the second most powerful country in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and you have one of your top, biggest mouthpieces on social media.
Yeah.
Go out there, and this is what you show about China's rail infrastructure. And
Yes.
now I'm supposed to invest in China.
Yeah, because
Well,
he's
guess
showing this
what?
is China's amazing railway.
Dear Zhang Heqing, which for some reason who follows me on Twitter
Yep.
or X, number 1, unfollow me. Number 2, you've just lost probably millions of dollars, potentially billions of dollars in investment in China because you shared this fake video. Now everyone sees this and goes, oh wait, everything in China is not real.
Yes.
You know?
I mean, come on, it's not that hard to film trains going past. You know, you don't need this cardboard cutout shit, whatever this
So
is.
bad.
It's really bad.
But it's so fun though, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, look, this...
That's not fake.
No, that's not fake. And the thing is, we're talking about infrastructure here. This is just outside of Shanghai, okay? Look at this raised highway, how it's coming apart.
They're gonna have to
It's
raise the
tofu
dead
drip,
after
yeah.
that one.
So this week, last show, we showed this like fake AI stuff that the same guy, Zhang Heqing, was showing, right?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't stop. He doubled down, okay, with another beautiful fake Xinjiang
you pause that?
landscape. Yeah, sure.
I said something like, it looks like Jello Switzerland.
Yes.
And so when I was posting about this, I was still like a little bit mad that after we pointed this out and hundreds of thousands of people had seen that he faked this image
Yeah.
and used it to deflect away from the genocide that's currently going on by the CCP's hand in Xinjiang.
Yes.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to show that there's no genocide in Xinjiang because it's so pretty.
Yeah.
Like, that's the idea.
Hey, dude, like lots of Germany's incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
It doesn't stop the fact that there were
Oh
concentration
yeah, because during
camps.
the Holocaust, it was in black and white and it was raining all the time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly,
It's like,
yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, these images are fake, right?
They're fake.
Completely fake. They're not even based on anything.
No, they're just
necessarily.
made up. You know, like
Yeah.
when you play a flight simulator
Yeah.
and you get close to the ground.
Yeah, that's
what
like
this
that.
is, yeah.
That's very specific, but very true.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I was getting mad because I'm like laughing at this as I'm reposting it on Threads or whatever, and I look
Mm-hmm.
at, I'm looking at the response, and I'm like, people are like confused. They're like, "Wow, that's definitely not Xinjiang, but is it real?" And I'm like, "No, this is AI. This is completely fake."
Yeah.
And I'm just getting mad because like, who do they think they're fooling?
Yeah.
Who's believing this?
I don't know, but this is like proper propaganda from China. This is actually propaganda. It's being put out there by, officials.
Yeah, it's not like a personal post.
No, it's ridiculous. Like this is, you can tell anyone who knows anything about computer generated stuff. If you look closely at this, you can tell. And anyone who doesn't know about computer generated stuff will look at this and say, this is just fake or an artist
Yeah, or like a
representation
painting or something, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, look at those flowers in the foreground, for instance, these ones down here.
Yeah.
It's just pathetic that anyone would believe this was real. But he's putting it out there as if this is Xinjiang. This place doesn't exist anywhere in the world, and never mind Xinjiang.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is who he is.
Yeah.
He's the Chinese embassy official in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And he has faced backlash for his hijab off tweet.
Yes.
So
He came onto my radar when he followed me, and I said I was looking at my new followers on Twitter a couple years ago, and I'm like, why is the CCP official following me?
Yeah.
So then I dig into him, and this is how it works. It's kind of a weird niche thing. I guess you would never say he's like part of a massive entourage of a Beijing official. Like you wouldn't see him in some massive meeting like walking around with Xi Jinping, right?
No.
However, he is a government official, and he doesn't need to carry around the title of government official because he works in the cultural liaison office of Pakistan's relationship with China.
yeah, he's still a government official.
No, he is. But he gets to kind of shed a little bit of that because it's always about cultural communication. And China does that a lot.
Well, I mean, you could call this cultural communication of some kind, whatever he is, but he's always doing Xinjiang propaganda, like what do you call that, like genocide denial
He also
propaganda.
does anti-Muslim propaganda, which is weird because he's in Pakistan.
Yeah, but I mean, like this was the tweet that got him a little bit of trouble previously. At least people were like, "What are you doing, dude?" It's like, "Off your hijab, let me see your eyes."
Bro got drunk and horny.
Yeah, I mean,
And he started tweeting that.
I gotta ask you, are eyes hidden under a hijab?
Yeah, there's a couple things wrong with this. Number one, it's super culturally insensitive.
Yeah.
You're an ambassador to Pakistan, where
Yes.
the majority of people are Muslim.
Yeah, so you probably shouldn't be saying "off your hijab."
You're posting inappropriate videos from Pakistan
Yes.
on a website that's blocked by China, even though you're a Chinese official.
Yeah. Of
So
a
that's-
Uyghur dancing
Of a
Muslim.
Uyghur dancing Muslim. Of a Uyghur dancing Muslim. Let's be honest, it's probably a Han Chinese woman.
she
it's
looks
hard
like
to tell from
Han
this.
Chinese, yeah.
And then he says, "Off your hijab." So let's
Yeah.
remove that.
Off
Let's
your,
strip
off
your,
your hijab. Yeah,
off.
exactly.
Like he goes all in, right?
Yeah.
These are 3 missteps here, right?
yeah.
And let me see your eyes, which is empirically wrong,
Yeah,
as you
because
say.
you can see people's eyes when they're wearing a hijab.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's all you can see. You do
Anyway.
get those weird like ones that have got like a mesh.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Maybe he's talking about the mesh.
Maybe he's going for the mesh ones, yeah.
hijabs. Either way, what a weirdo. Okay, but he represents the Chinese government. This is the kind of thing that he puts out there all the time. The way we treat our friends and the way we treat our enemies. This is part of that whole wolf warrior thing.
Yeah. He is a wolf warrior. And, even though his position is relatively low in the CCP in terms of like the structure, he's very high up in a way because he's been, even though his position is low, he's been selected as being a huge mouthpiece. He's one of the biggest social media posters for the Chinese government.
Correct.
He is the genesis and the aggregate of much of China's propaganda.
Yeah. So it's really weird to see him post this fake stuff all the time. And he didn't stop, okay?
He just won't stop.
This is like an hour ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like, I better throw this in. He's like another one, Yili, Xinjiang, China. It doesn't look like that. That's fake. There's no such place. I mean, there's such a place, but there's no such place as this picture. And if you look closely, you can see these flowers are just copy and paste textures.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Dude.
It's like, what is this fantasy world this guy's living in?
Oh my gosh. And it's funny, he gets called out by all these people. He said big names like us, and Jordan called him out.
Yeah.
He said huge names that are bigger than him in this world.
He wants that, obviously. He wants the engagement. But I'll tell you what, I could go out there and tell you this is Birmingham.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
'cause it's
look,
not real.
beautiful Birmingham.
Yeah.
Of course, it
This
doesn't
is
look anything
actually
like
no.
this.
It's actually what I had for dinner last night.
What, this?
Yeah, that's actually my plate of dinner.
Oh, that's your
the same
plate
thing.
of
It's not
dinner?
real.
Yeah, it's not real. It's rubbish. It's making this crap up. What a weirdo. Anyway, just thought we'd bring you up to up to whatever speed on the antics of government officials on Twitter.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you get more later. And show you a grab hag to kind of cleanse the palate.
Nice.
For those of you who don't know what a grab hag is, this is a great example.
他不是说需要的，他就想占便宜，缠了一边扔兜里，缠了一边扔他那个挎包里。也是那个超市是准备给的。
So, if you've ever been to IKEA, there are various places, supermarkets and shops you can go to. They have like packing material so that you can pack your own stuff. So you buy something, IKEA specifically, and I think this is probably from IKEA. You buy whatever it is and you go to this area where you can wrap your own goods and then you've got like twine to tie it up with, right? So the grab hag's going in there and just basically unraveling all the twine to steal it.
It's a
'Cause
hot
it's free.
commodity.
This is a problem, and a lot of companies learn this the hard way in China. You can never have a situation based on trust where you give something free.
Yeah.
If you leave free sugar or free milk or anything out there, it'll just be the grab hags will come. The people your actual customers that come to your shop won't even do this. It's the grab hags will hear
it's only
about
grab
it,
hags.
and they won't buy a thing from your shop. They'll just come in there and
Chinese
steal
people
it.
hate grab hags.
Yeah, it's universally hated.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first got to China, Starbucks used to have those flasks where you could like fill milk. They have like milk or half and half. So you get your coffee and you can go to a little table where they had the flasks and fill it up. They had to get rid of them because the grab hags would come in there and literally just fill up a plastic bag, shopping bag with milk and walk out with it.
Some people are asking grab hag. Grab hag is a lost generation person. So it's usually an IE, so like a woman of maybe 60 to 80 years old.
I mean, the old uncles are the same too, but not as bad as the aunties for some reason.
Right. China's a poor country. It used to be even poorer. And people grow up with this mentality that if you don't get yours in this cutthroat society, then you die, you starve. They watch their neighbors starve. They watch their family and friends starve. So they just take anything that's free.
Yeah. If it's not nailed down, they'll take it. So you got to watch out for that. Like IKEA had to stop giving out also the coffee machines where you could, you could actually get the coffee powder. You mix it yourself. They had to get rid of those in IKEA because the grab hags were just coming and taking the free coffee and getting out of there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
完了之后，囤点什么杂口啊，是吧？不能占便宜，用设施多少拿多少。
Somebody put this together. So this is fantastic, by the way. We all know about those police stations that were operating overseas, those clandestine.
Well, if you don't know, China was operating over 50 police stations abroad.
Yeah.
So they were setting up police stations and pretending they were like little liaison offices that help to interface with Chinese people when they're abroad to help them renew their driver's licenses.
That's the only
or
excuse that they had the whole time was driver's licenses, which is nonsense.
They were police stations to enforce CCP law in America, in England, in Ireland, in Germany, and Angola, all over the place, right? And they set up these offices so that they could monitor, Chinese people when they were abroad, and to make sure that they keep track of dissidents, and then find dissidents. And they go pressure their family back home to either repatriate them for Operation Fox Hunt or even more nefarious things. They track people for years.
They'd call them up from these places and say, hey, you've got your debt you have to pay. We know all this stuff. And, I mean, they were boasting about this on Chinese state media. They put out, like, propaganda movies to show how effective these overseas police stations have been in actually repatriating people.
There's no reason also that was just for Chinese people. It could be anyone that has any like if they're against the CCP in any way. You better believe they were mobilized for that kind of stuff.
So, of course, when they were caught out, and we've been covering this on the show, so if you're a long-time viewer, you know about this already.
I just want to catch them up.
But when they were caught out and it hit the press about China having these police stations, just running without any permission in cities around the world, the Chinese spokesperson, they made a statement, and this is what it was. So we'll show it to you quickly here. He said...
根本不存在所谓的海外警
There
察
are no
站。
so-called overseas police stations at all. I can just read it as he speaks.
有关机构
Relevant
从事的
institutions helped overseas Chinese
活动是协助新冠
who
疫
could
情
not return to China due to the pandemic.
期间无法回国的中国公民办理中国
Renew
驾
their driving license and perform physical examinations.
驶证期满换证体检服务，根本不是所
They're not so-called police stations or police service centers at all.
谓的警察站或警察服务中心。
Really? Okay, so here we've got the quote. It's important. Wang Wenbin, who's, as we all know, he's this dude, the water cooler guy.
Just sounds like a water cooler, doesn't it?
Yeah, he just sounds like a water
All
cooler.
I heard was glug, glug.
Yeah, glug, glug, glug. So what he said is they are not so-called police stations or police service centers at all. And
Okay.
of course, this stupid excuse about driver's license, we've debunked this
You
anyway.
do that at the consulate.
And also, why are you traveling overseas if you've got a driver's license that's expired or about to expire?
Oh, and you know the bullshit thing about, it was because of the pandemic. These were set up before the pandemic.
Yeah, before the pandemic. And
dummy.
also, if you're living in America as a Chinese diaspora or something, you would get an American driver's license. You would not be renewing your Chinese one.
No.
You know what I mean?
You can't use it forever.
You can't. There's a limited period of time, like 6 months.
or whatever. It depends
Whatever
on the
it
state.
is. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is the important thing. This is the quote from the Chinese Foreign Ministry. They are not so-called police stations or police service centers at all. Let's take a look. All right.
根本不是所谓的警察站或警察服务中心。
Then what?
Joe Police Overseas Service Station.
In Dublin, Ireland.
We had
Okay.
people actually go visit
根本
that
不
one.
是所
Remember?
谓的
Yes,
警
yes.
察站或警察服务
These
中
are
心。
not police stations. What's this one? Fuzhou Police Overseas Service Station.
In Prato, it's Italia, Italy.
Yep.
Is it really a place called Prato?
Yeah.
I guess so. That's where the Pratos come from, you know.
根本不是所谓的警察站或警察服务中心。
It's like an Italian version of
It's
a
a
Pratt.
Prato.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you could... Anyway, let's move on. Yeah.
Oh, what's
It's
that?
in Budapest, Hungary.
Yep.
Fuzhou Police Overseas Service Station.
He said there's no
根本不是所谓
police
的警
overseas
察站
police
或警察服务
stations.
中心。
Yeah.
Spain.
Yeah, it's in Catalina, I guess.
Catalan.
Yeah. The thing is, it's there, and it's in the Chinese as well. So it's not just the English translation they put up there. You can see the Chinese there for police. And that's the stupid thing, is they lie to your face, the Chinese officials. It's one of those things, they're like, if we lie enough about it, then it becomes true. We
Yeah,
just have
but
to
no,
say
it's
it.
also this. This is the most important thing to understand. If the foreign ministry says that, that's the highest branch of government, right? For to make a statement from Xi Jinping's,
Yeah,
dictatorship.
correct.
If they say it, that is the truth. It doesn't matter what the truth is. They said it, so that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because they're the highest. In China, if there's a government official and they say something, you don't question it because it doesn't matter if it's a lie or not. That's the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's what you're seeing.
Yeah, let's see if
根
there's
本不是
another.
所
I
谓
know
的
it's
警察
frustrating to
站或警
understand
察
for
服务中
people,
心。
but
This is New York, USA.
yep.
Police Overseas
yeah,
Service
yeah.
Station. The fact
Those
根
that...
guys
本
got
不是所谓的
Yeah, here's the stupid thing, guys. They have put this media out themselves. They are bragging. This is their propaganda. Look how many of these overseas police service stations we have. They're taking photo ops, okay? And it says police station. But of course, the foreign ministry is like, no, they're not so-called police
警察站或警察
stations.
服务中心。
Come on. Or service station centers. It says there.
It literally says, and
It's
those,
Buenos Aires,
by the way, those
Argentina.
Fuzhou stations
Yeah.
are bad news bears. Those are the bad dudes in China that do the bad stuff.
Yes,
根本
it's like a
不是-
mafia that
Yes, it's
you
a
know,
mafia.
works overseas.
It is
yeah.
mafia.
Yeah. It is in
所谓的警
Nigeria.
察站或警察服务中心。
But what are you talking about? There is no.
Let's see.
There's no police overseas service stations. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well...
根本不是所谓的警察站或警察
Oh,
服务中心。
Barcelona, it's Spain. We got another one over here. Police Overseas Service Station. I mean, this guy's going on and on and on. Anyway, a new...
A hero.
Yeah, another big thing in the news is this guy, who's a pretty well-known activist. He wore this T-shirt.
Yeah.
And this is like ages ago. Must have been, what, 2017?
Yes.
It's like a long time ago.
He was the Shitala guy. That's what he became known as, the Shitler guy.
He wore this T-shirt which has hashtag Shitala,
Yeah.
hashtag Xibaozi, which
So-
is a, Xi Jinping doesn't like being called Xibaozi because it means sheet steamed bun.
Yeah.
He wore this shirt and it actually got him in jail. They arrested him and they put him in jail for I think 18 months for wearing this T-shirt. And then on top of that, they made it so that he couldn't leave. He got an exit ban and he got like monitored 24/7. So they're like watching his movements and
His
stuff.
life was over.
Yeah.
You don't escape that.
But
you do.
Yeah, you do. He's obviously got a lot of, I don't know, courage. This dude to wear a T-shirt like that in China.
That's like,
If you're Chinese, even if you're a foreigner too, if you wore something, it's like
Wow.
you're done, right? So I think we were discussing that if he wore that T-shirt these days, he would have been completely like done.
I think they wouldn't have made it even public, the case.
Yeah.
They would have killed him.
Yeah, well, they just disappear
Yeah.
forever. He escaped to South Korea on a jet ski.
That's epic.
I know. It's pretty crazy because he traveled 200 miles on the sea on a jet ski.
It's not we were talking about this. Jet skis are meant for short jaunts to play. They're not meant for long travel.
No, and he must have got cooked on there, how suddenly the sun is amplified on the sea?
Yeah.
He must be like burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
Anyway, the fact of the matter is he towed like 5 barrels of petrol behind him.
Guess.
Yeah, which he then used to fill it up as he went along, which is
pretty
kind of
epic.
cool. Anyway, he's currently in South Korea and he's seeking asylum.
He made it.
Yeah, he made it all the way there.
He made it.
He made it all the way to South Korea.
What a chat.
I know.
Dude,
so we're
China needs more of this.
Yeah, we're wishing him the best. Because,
love to get an interview at some point.
by the way, seeking asylum in South Korea is difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Not many people get it.
No.
You know what I mean? Like 10,000 plus apply.
You'd
be lucky if like 200 get it.
It's actually an important feature that I haven't heard too many people talk about, but he is actually ethnically Korean.
Yeah.
From Yanbian. And we've been to
we've been
Yanbian.
to
We
Yanbian.
spent a lot of time in Yanbian, hectic area. It's on the North Korean border. And so he identifies as both Korean and Chinese. So he went to Korea because he can communicate with people there. It's the best place for asylums. 200 miles away.
Yeah.
He's already Korean.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
There's actually millions of ethnic Koreans in China.
We met them. If you watch
They're not
our-
expats. They're born in China.
Yeah.
It just happens to be an ethnically Korean area.
Yeah, it's like right on the border.
Korean border,
So if you want to check more of that out, you can check out Conquering Northern China.
Yeah,
we
did a whole
have a
thing
lot
there.
of interactions with them. Okay, cool. So that's another what's new. We got something else in
Starting
what's
Friday.
new though. Talking about Korea is apparently South Korea has reactivated its propaganda speakers.
To send positive messages towards the north.
Yeah, let's take a listen to what they have to say.
Soon, South Korea's loudspeaker propaganda broadcast resumed in 11 locations along the border.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
That's just a little joke there.
I love that.
Anyway, before we get into our main segment, which of course is Soft Power Hour, we wanted to remind you of our Monday show. Okay, it's called Shaban Ho.
Which is going to be on Sunday as well.
We're actually, this week is something a little different because we missed out on Monday due to me being sick.
It's unprecedented.
It's unprecedented, right? This Sunday, if you are a patron member of any tier, you will gain access to this Sunday's show. So we got an interesting show all about the different kinds of perverts you find in China.
There's lots of different kinds.
Yeah.
And we're going to break them down, their
Man,
attributes, kind of like Pokemon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is what you missed the previous episode if you hadn't seen Shaban Ho.
Very curious, and he's on a subway, and it's hard to sit through.
It's just cringe. It's cringe. It's not horrible. It's just cringe.
You want him to like stop though. Maybe a quick peek. You want him to stop though.
You asked for it, you get it.
I love that there's an open seat next to him.
Oh, there's 2 open seats
Yeah.
next to him. So she's
He's
like,
like leaned in.
look at how
Like
deliberately.
he moved in.
And he's like, looking. This guy is so annoying, dude.
Oh, what a hum juice all.
Yeah, exactly.
Chinese Benjamin butt. He really does look like he's growing backwards.
Yeah.
Micro croc. He's a I said croc.
Yeah, so hopefully you can join us this coming Sunday.
Yes.
If you are part of the Patreon, so patreon.com/ADV podcasts, you will gain access to the Shaban Ho show this Sunday.
Oh, yes. It's going to be a fun one. And tell you what, if you are part of that, you're watching a show that we can't do on normal YouTube because it's all the stuff we can't cover here.
Yeah.
It's the fun part.
Now let's get into
love
gold. All right?
Gold.
All right, and that is in
gold.
Soft Power Hour,
Yeah.
by the way, which is the main part of our show. We talk about how China is trying to change your mind through influence campaigns, media, you name it. And, well, let's talk about gold first. So there's this thing about gold in China. And what you're seeing here, by the way, is what they found underneath a corrupt official's home in
CCP
China.
official.
Yeah, CCP official. That's a lot of gold. Okay.
Oh, if I could just have a little taste of that. Gold looks delicious.
Yeah, it kind of
Looks
does.
like edible, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, exactly. So the thing about gold is it's used to move illicit funds around in China because it's not traceable.
Yeah.
Like, if you paid someone via WeChat
Correct.
or...
You can
or-
melt it down.
Exactly. If you drew money out of a bank or did a bank transfer. So what they do is... there was a big crackdown, I remember, on corruption in China when I was living there at one point. And one of the things that they stopped people from getting are expensive, lavish gifts.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
but they still allowed gifts, just
Yeah.
not expensive, lavish ones. So what people would do to bribe is they would buy mooncakes, for instance.
Yep.
Okay, so your typical little mooncake. Because look, during the cake festival, people hand this stuff out everywhere. It's handed out.
Mooncake
You
is
go-
a small cake. It's very dense, and you eat it on Mooncake Festival.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You give it as gifts.
Yeah, and Tuangwujie. And so
Yeah.
the thing is, mooncakes are, by the way, try one at least once. They're very interesting.
Depends. Some are good, some are terrible.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying try them because you've never had a more dense
Yeah.
food.
It's calorically dense.
It's like
2,000 calories into something this big.
Yeah, one mooncake can like feed you for days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
you're stuck in the mountains or something,
Yeah. Good-
just take some
good
mooncake with you.
idea.
Yeah. Anyway, so what they would do is they'd give out mooncake, right? And you get them free at restaurants that you go to and stuff
Yeah.
too. But now what would happen is in order to bribe officials, you'd get a mooncake. Mooncakes come in a tin, right? But they would make the tin out of pure gold and give them it's got like stickers on it, so it looks like a normal tin, but it's actually like gold. That was one way they could
That's
still,
gold.
they could still bribe officials, you see, with pure
Yeah.
gold. So gold is used as this bribery currency and to get stuff around.
It's true. I was just thinking there's a song that actually reminds me of something about the moon.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah,
Mooncakes.
because the Mooncake Festival,
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's take a look here. The reason we're talking about gold being moved around to hide illicit funds, that's a lot of gold.
That's a lot of freaking gold. Doesn't it look yummy though?
Yeah.
I think gold is so tacky looking.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should wear it, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's I prefer white gold. 'Cause it
Yeah, I
looks
got a
more-
white gold
me too.
ring.
But this looks delicious.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah, sure.
know?
Like it's a chocolate bar or something.
Yeah.
So
look at that delicious
now this
slab.
image is being posted, and you're going to tell us about this, okay?
Yeah.
And for those of you, by the way, for those of you wondering why it's got big cuts in it and gouges, that's to prove that it's real and that it
Correct,
doesn't
yeah.
have like lead in there.
Yes. I wish
Yeah.
I had that picture, but somebody showed this pictorial representation of where the lead actually was hiding. It was
Yeah.
like avoiding all the
Yeah,
cuts.
exactly. Yeah.
But basically, what you do is bolt cutter it, because if you had a piece of metal, the average piece of metal would be dented from a bolt cutter, not
Yeah.
sliced through like butter.
Yeah,
And you can see this delicious piece of gold that looks so
Yeah,
yummy, and I
yeah.
want to bite.
I know you just want to eat this. Anyway, explain.
Wouldn't you take a bite of that?
I mean, I try.
Try to like
Yeah,
bend it a
yeah,
little
exactly.
bit.
You know,
Yeah,
they
for
always
sure.
people always testing if it's real or not.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Now, I want to preface this by saying the chat was alive with everyone talking about, oh, China's got so much fake gold. Look, they're going to talk about counterfeit gold. This is real.
No, it's real.
We're
This
talking
is
about
real
real gold.
gold,
And
yeah.
China doesn't mess around with gold. You get your real gold.
Yeah, you get tons of fake gold too.
Of course.
In fact, if you for some reason are buying your gold off of eBay, which I see people do.
Yeah.
If you're buying gold off eBay and so on, you're probably going to get fake Chinese
Slug
gold.
gold, yeah.
It's like you can pick it up with a magnet. It's
Yeah.
just got so much iron or whatever.
There's tons
you
of
know.
slug gold, but not from
Yeah.
banks.
No.
In China, they're not going to, So this is what's happening. There is a real estate bubble, a huge crash happening in China right now.
Yes.
We've had anecdotal evidence, but let's just say the average house that people were investing in has tanked in value.
Yeah.
But the government is terrified that they're going to go through a huge housing market crash that would be it would make the one that happened in 2008 in America look like a joke.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
30% of China's GDP is tied up in real estate, and the average person has a lot of their savings tied up in real estate. And a lot
Everybody.
of people,
Everybody does.
Everybody. A lot of people have bought houses that don't even exist yet.
Yes.
Right.
And they're paying off the mortgage already.
They're paying off the mortgage already, and they may never be built because
Yeah.
this is all coming down like a house of cards.
Yeah.
So, how are they going to move houses? China still wants people to speculate on property.
They still want people to buy property because
Yes.
it's what's keeping the economy going.
But they want it to be at reasonable prices and not at huge, severe
Yeah,
discounts.
the people selling the houses now, the real estate companies are having trouble selling a house
Correct.
because of all this turmoil. And the government won't let them lower the prices. So they still want to sell this house for like say $1 million RMB, right?
Yeah, we talked about somebody that we know that
Mm-hmm.
spent 6 million RMB on a house, that sold it, had to sell it for 500,000 RMB. They don't want that.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want that happening. So this is what's happening. There are a lot of instances right now. A huge swath of property companies are doing this
Yeah,
in
that
order
is-
to move property. That are taking and I'll use this example. They're taking a $400,000 house.
Yeah.
So I'll use dollars. So it's easier
Okay,
to understand.
right.
$450,000 house, right? and it needs to be sold at a discount, or else no one's going to buy it.
Yeah, no one's going to buy it at that price because people are wise to what's going on. They're
Yes.
like, you know what, this is risky.
Yes. So the government says, no, you can't sell it for a huge, massive discount.
No, you have to sell it for $450,000.
You have to sell it for $450,000, right?
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're saying, okay, buyer, we're going to sell it to you for $450,000, but we're going to give you this $50,000 or $100,000 gold bar.
Yeah.
And then we don't owe you anything, right?
Yeah.
You still bought it at a massive discount.
So they're actually buying it for $350,000.
In some cases, you got a house that's $500,000, and the person is receiving $250,000 in gold bars,
Yeah.
right? So you're in a situation where it depends on which area is less desirable, like which area of China we're talking about. But people are receiving gold en masse in order to make up for the fact that there is a property collapse. And that is terrifying the government because they've put in, like, if I go to People's Daily or Global Times or any of these Chinese websites, I went to look at the news. Some of the top articles right now, and this is always indicative of what the government is worried about, is look at how many measures the government has put in place to make sure that there isn't a housing collapse. Like when the Chinese government says those things so overtly, you know what they're concerned about.
Absolutely.
So that the people always find a way. Chinese people are very, very industrious. They're pragmatic and they're clever.
Your whole life in China is not finding the way to do something. It's
Yes.
finding a way.
A way to do something.
Yeah, so there's,
找一个办法。
yeah, exactly. It's all about loopholes. And,
Yes.
you know, so people aren't buying your houses. The real estate company's like, well, look, we're going to have to give them a discount, but we're not
Yes.
allowed to. Let's
Yes.
give them gold.
Yes.
So this is alleged, by the way, and this is a lot of people
course.
have come out and
Said that this
been
is
talking
happening.
about this happening, and we 100% believe that's what's happening.
Here's the deal. You have to do the math. This doesn't stop there. It's like, oh, they found a way to sell their houses at discount. But you understand, this implies something massive because this doesn't stop the government controls. In fact, it completely supersedes them.
Yes.
And the problem is still underlying, right? So we're watching this. I mean, I would not put too much time left on this before you see a serious implosion.
Yeah.
And it's already happening.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it is behind closed doors happening.
Yeah.
And that's how China wants it to happen, because if word were to spread, if it were to become public knowledge just how bad the property sector is,
man.
people would stop investing immediately.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
And then it would just cause a collapse overnight.
Yeah.
So they try so incredibly hard to make sure that when there's a story, when somebody's dissatisfied and they try to sell their house and they can't,
Yeah.
if they try to make a stink about it, they get shut down immediately. All their media,
Well,
social media gets cut down.
They can't too. If you think about this, like local governments, on average, make like 45 to 50% of a local government's income is based on the real estate market.
Yeah.
So you would have whole areas that would just domino.
Yeah.
Like the whole economy would be gone.
Correct.
you know?
It'd be, so they can't allow any of this to get out there. So we're going to keep a close eye on this. Anyway, let's get back to Zhang Heqing because we've let him rest long enough. Okay.
Is he a zombie?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, he's posted this yesterday. Chinese cartoonist, Wu Qilin released a
Seen his stuff.
new illustration to condemn #Japan's dumping of nuclear contaminated water into the sea. #Fukushima from the 24th, 2023. The beast of sin started to unleash its wrath against all mankind. Man, they're really building this up, aren't they?
Let's make a super explain it like I'm 5 thing, right?
Well, let's just show this little thing you put together earlier.
Yeah.
China releases
This is a parody.
thousands of trillions of nuclear waste becquerels
Becquerels, yeah.
per year, the most in the world.
It's actually, I have no idea. It might not even be the most in the world. This is a satire.
Yeah, exactly.
The point is that they used a propaganda cartoon
Yes.
or a piece of art to make
Yeah.
a false statement.
Yes.
You can do that with whatever you want.
Absolutely.
But if this goes around instead of the original, it would be very funny.
It would be funny if this happened to be spread more than their original one.
It would kind of like negate the purpose.
Here's the thing. What's going on, and we discussed this on the Monday show slightly, is, well, before we get into this, a quick overview is the Fukushima accident happened. We all know about it, terrible incident. And, what we ended up with was a bunch of contaminated
Yes.
water.
Yes.
That's been stored and treated now for 12 plus years.
Yeah.
Okay. In order to get it to a safe level to release it into the sea. Now, of course, I'm completely against this. I'm against releasing any kind of contaminated water into the sea. But this is within safe levels.
Yes.
From an entire international body that has been monitoring this from the get-go.
Unlike China, who
Yeah.
has they do have like some international people, especially from France, that come over
They
and
have to,
monitor
yeah.
things. I do have a little insight in this.
Yeah.
The level of cooperation is dismal.
Yes.
I knew somebody personally whose father worked in this plant that we're going to show you that we actually saw. Mm-hmm. And the team that visited was not allowed back to a certain area, and they were appalled at the level of quality control that was going into what they were doing.
Yeah.
Whereas Japan is very transparent. Everyone knows about what happened, and they invited all of the international body to come help.
Correct.
That's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I did a whole video about the cracks that were forming on the nuclear, power plant in China, in southern China, and it's bad. Okay, the quality control. And look, spoiler here: China releases a lot of nuclear contaminated water, a lot more than Japan ever will. But here's the thing: what you're seeing behind us right now is panic salt buying. This is sorry. I mean, you got to hear the chaos. What are you talking about? Is now? Anyway, here's the thing. This is happening right now in China, right now, as we speak, right?
By the salt. By the salt. So what happened? This happened before?
This is all salt in these boxes, by the way.
Yeah, so what happened is some rumors went around, and they said, you're probably asking, why salt, right? Basically, when the Fukushima thing happened, these rumors went around in China, and there was two things. One group of people were saying if you consume a lot of iodine, then it will deflect against radioactive waste.
Yeah.
So basically, when Fukushima went down...
Yeah. By the way, just to prove that we were here, that's you. I was filming you. And that is the...
waving to some locals for some reason.
Exactly. And there's the Daiwan nuclear power plant in China. Isn't that a lovely scene? I always love this scene. Just look at the beautiful sky. You know what I mean?
Oh, chef's French kiss.
And we swam in that water.
We did, and it glows.
Yeah, it does at night. But I think that's bioluminescent algae.
Hey, you never know.
I don't think it's nuclear contamination causing that. But just to say, when we talk about stuff, guys, we talk from experience, okay? Because we were there. Okay?
Yeah, we've swum in those waters many times.
We filmed that. Yeah. And the amount of nuclear contaminated, as they call it, water that comes out of that plant is far worse than what they're releasing.
Oh, well, I'll get into the figures in a little bit. Can we go back to salt?
Yeah, let's go back to salt.
Let's assault on your senses because it was so loud.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So what happened was, originally when this happened, people started panic buying salt. The iodine is supposed to protect you against the radiation. And then on the other hand, it was that there's not going to be salt anymore because we get all our salt from the sea, and the seawater is contaminated, so we can't get salt out of it anymore.
Yeah.
China being next to Japan.
Yeah, so that's the whole point, is they're thinking that there's going to be a shortage of salt and you won't be able to buy salt anymore.
Yes, but they did huge campaigns the first time this happened. They're like, stop buying salt. I mean, a bag of salt was going for hundreds of dollars at some point.
Yeah.
People were like, putting out bodies of, scientific bodies to say, listen, no, this salt is fine. We domestically produce salt. It has nothing to do with Japan. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Even though it didn't affect the salt at all. Right?
No.
But the people still did it. I had family members that were panic buying salt and trying to eat a ton of salt too.
Yes.
And I'm like, guys, you're going to die from the salt. People actually probably did die of salt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. I wonder if there's going to be a die-go situation where people are buying up salt in America and Australia.
Ding, ding, ding. I can already prove that.
Okay.
There were people trying to tell their daughters and sons, quite close to us, in Canada to buy a bunch of salt.
Okay.
Not only for themselves, to send
back to China,
because of this huge panic buying. So yes, you called that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's how they make profit every time there's something like this. Remember with the PPE, where they bought out all of the masks and hand sanitizer and everything from the local pharmacies in America, for instance, to send back to China during the pandemic. And it was awful because the local people didn't have access to masks that they needed.
Yeah.
And hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Yeah, it pissed me off a lot. I made a video about that.
Yeah.
And
you're in me off as well.
Yeah, that's what's probably going to happen with salt soon. But salt's very heavy, so I think the shipping fees are going to be quite tough.
Yeah, what's funny is the one of the top articles I was reading on Chinese media.
Yeah,
was JD, which is like I don't know how would you say. Yeah, which
like
is
online shopping.
Online shopping, like Amazon.
Yeah.
It says JD says salt supplies are stable. like every time that you see something like that, you're like, okay, the opposite. Chinese
opposite.
media means the opposite.
Absolutely. I just love that this is a resort, by the way.
Yeah, that's a top resort.
Yeah, that was a 5-star like
Very expensive.
Hilton or something that we stayed in there. It was horrible, by the way. We made a video about it. It was terrible. The cracked walls and the
it's
buffet was
disgusting.
terrible, and everything about it was bad. Like cheap, rubbish business hotels were way better.
Yeah, that's a sunny day, by the way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, excuse the shaky zoom, but that's what you want to see when you wake up out of your hotel morning. You know,
Right out the window.
Like, look at this wonderful view in front of me. It's a freaking nuclear power plant and pollution everywhere. You know what I mean?
I like what Soul Life said. They said they're talking about this whole thing, but why is it happening again?
Yes, exactly.
because Japan is going to be doing a controlled release of the Fukushima disaster treated water.
Just if you want to know what's going on in the background, these are some of the Chinese nuclear power plants
And
that are
sites.
along the coast and sites, and these are releasing their coolant water, which is also full of this tritium. And that's, tritium is the problem. This is what,
Tritium's not that big of a deal, though.
It still is.
very low energy.
But it's not terrible, but it's still, that's what China's freaking out about.
Yeah, that's what China's freaking out about. That's why we're talking about it.
But all these Chinese nuclear power plants are releasing more. So,
I actually had some of that coming up here. I just wanted you guys to get a look at some of the sites here.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a lot. There's a ton. I guess France
here
and
we got
US
a couple.
have more, but
Whoops! I'm sorry, I just had
There's
to.
a train
I
wreck,
had to do
dude.
the train sound. I misclicked.
that
Oh
is
no!
the worst sound
It's
I've ever
so
heard.
bad. Should be a soundbite. Yeah.
It's like it's worse than freaking Port of Dandong.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Hang on, I'll
Does
bring it up.
Dandong have? Oh, Dandong. Does
Yeah, there we
Dandong
go.
come up in this episode at all?
I mean,
Oh,
there's
it's Dalian.
yeah, Dalian. Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, have a look at this map.
By the way, I forgot during the whole gold thing, I was supposed to use this soundbite.
Is that me gold?
What the hell are you?
I'm a leprechaun, me dear. Here.
Just had to do it. You know what I mean?
Is that Communist Leprechaun?
Yeah, it's Communist Leprechaun. So, what do you want to take a look at over here? Annual tritium discharged in neighboring countries and regions?
Yeah, so have a look at this. So in my studies, by the way, very disappointed with Chat GPT, which I never use, but I use it sometimes if Google's not working, so I'll pull it up. And I asked it about it, and they were like, I have no information about how much tritium China puts out. And I'm like, and it goes, you should check government body websites and stuff. I said, you check it. I got into this big argument with it.
You're with an AI.
I was getting really mad.
But did you ask it
Anyway.
to check for other countries?
Of course it knows. Of course it knows. But this is the problem. I shouldn't get mad at ChatGPT. It's because it turns out China only releases a little bit of data.
Yeah, here and there.
So in my research, what I found was about 3 or 4, depending on the year, data points from different nuclear plants are released, but there's 13 plants in China, right? So you don't get a whole picture of how much tritium's actually released, but you just from the 4 that they do release, you can do some math and understand that it's vastly more than what's being released in Fukushima, which is what Chinese media is freaking out about.
Like I was sharing an article earlier on Twitter, Twitter, okay? And in this article, it stated, and which is correct, 13 nuclear power plants in China in 2021, 13 each released more than the annual release from Fukushima.
Correct.
So you just take one of those 13 power plants, it's releasing a hell of a lot more than than Fukushima will release in an entire year.
That meme that was just meant to be a joke is correct. There are thousands of trillions of vectorals being released from China. So if we look at this, we have the Qingtian, in 2021, the Qingtian power plant, nuclear power plant, did 218 trillion, right?
Yes.
You have the Hongwushi.
That was in 1 year.
Yeah, that was in 1 year. That's 90. And then you have Ningla, which is 102. And then you have Yangjiang, which is in Guangdong, which is 112.
Just in 1 year, that one put out 218 trillion, okay?
Yes.
And Fukushima is going to put out 22 trillion in 1 year.
Yes.
That's a lot less. If anyone who knows math, they'll be able to see.
So China is spearheading this campaign to say Japan bad, rile up all these countries to divest from Japan.
Yeah, they're
put
saying,
stuff into
it's the end
China.
of the world.
It's the end of the world. They're telling their people that Japan's going to be the end of the Pacific
By the way,
region.
they've banned all aquatic products from Japan. So then
Japan.
you're not allowed to buy any seafood or anything from Japan. well, maybe you should stop buying seafood from yourself. You're way worse. You know what I mean?
Yikes.
Way
if you're
worse.
concerned about this, we have some other things you guys pump in the water over there that we'll examine.
Yeah, we're gonna
that's more
take a look.
dangerous than these vectorals of
Yeah,
tritium.
exactly.
Anyway, to just sum it up here for this particular infographic, just 4 power plants are 500 something trillion vectorals.
Yeah.
Whereas
versus 22.
the 22 out of the one that they're making a big fuss about.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so hypocritical.
So
it
in 1
hurts.
year from
Yeah.
China, yeah. It's pathetic, is what it is. And this is China, once again, using Japan as a diversion from its domestic problems. Because they're making such a huge, so you'll see, like we're going to show you how this is affecting the local populace. Because you have to understand, the poor Chinese people, they have one news source and one news source
Yeah.
only, and that's the Chinese government.
Yeah.
And they force feed this shit everywhere. In schools to children, it's force fed.
Yeah.
On the news, it's
Yeah.
force fed. Everywhere you go, it's force fed. You cannot get away from it, you know? Here are a couple of other these basically the same thing, this graph.
Yeah,
you
this
could
is
take a look
just
at.
the Chinese ones versus the Fukushima.
Yeah.
You see 90, 143 plus 102 plus 112. Compare that to 22 out
Yeah.
of the plant that they're making such a big fuss about.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to see respected journalists in China going and making a huge fuss and doing op-eds for Western platforms as well
Yeah.
about how bad and irresponsible this is for Japan, who did the right thing, interfaced and invited the international
They
bodies
were like,
to deal with
listen,
this.
we had this disaster, this absolute disaster, which, by the way, ever since that disaster, it's helped, believe it or not. But Japan's used to tsunamis. They're used to these kind of natural disasters,
Yeah.
earthquakes, tsunamis, right? And so they actually had a system in place to prevent something
Yeah.
going wrong, which they shut everything down. They got everything correct and ready just before the tsunami hit. But there was one lack of foresight, and that was that the generators that are supposed to, be backup to keep the coolant water flowing,
Yeah.
in case this whole system happens, they were underground and they got flooded. So the generators didn't work. And now because of that, other nuclear power plants around the world have now changed the way that they have their backup generators stored and things like that,
Right.
and the way that the water can keep flowing. So it's actually helped prevent future disasters.
Yeah, I read a ton of articles about how this is not that big of a deal. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like another side of the coin. It's not that big of a deal. What
Yeah,
Japan
I
has
mean,
done.
sure. Look, the thing is, what Japan's doing right now is the best that they can do
Yes.
given the circumstances.
Correct.
There was a disaster, and they've done the correct thing,
Correct.
which has involved the entire world in helping to monitor and make sure that what's going to be released is the safest it can be.
Correct.
Still not ideal,
Yeah.
but it's still safer than what China's doing. Let's take a look
Move
here.
on. Let's look at some of the aftermath.
Okay.
That's enough about like the whole disaster and figures.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so easy to prove that this hoo-ha
Yeah.
nonsense that the Chinese government is doing, pointing
Yes.
fingers at Japan, is BS because they themselves are releasing way worse of the same thing. It's not like it's a different kind of contamination.
No.
It's not like it's look, they're putting toxic sludge. No, it's like they're releasing tritium in this amount. Well, guess what? We do it too, but way worse. But don't tell anyone, especially not our own populace.
That's a good way to sum that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we want enough of these maps. This
Okay,
is
let's-
enough.
Yeah, I know. I don't like maps. You're the one who
I
likes
like maps. It's just we've exhausted this. We
Just
don't
one more
need
shot
more
of-
shots at this.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there having
I
your
wanna show-
sunset cocktail, and that's,
Yeah, it's true.
that's what you get to see. You know what I mean? You sit under that umbrella over there. That's whatever you call it, a parasol.
Yeah.
That's the name of a. That's the proper name for a day umbrella.
Oh, is
It's
it?
a parasol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that.
yeah,
Sounds dumb.
yeah. So you found somebody who did a very brief explanation here, didn't
Yeah, just about
Okay.
how it's how it all works.
you? Okay, well, let's see what she has to say. Oh, what a pity. There's no audio for this section.
Weird. It doesn't matter. We explained it all.
Yeah, we
you can look at
explained
that graphic, and you can pause it if you need to. Anyway, I want to show the reaction in China, so keep going.
Okay,
Enough of
all right.
this.
Enough of this. I think everybody gets the idea.
Yeah.
What a pity that there's no
Her
volume
her
there.
name's on there, so you can look her up if you want
Yeah.
to. But
Anyway, she was just explaining that it's not as big a deal as people might think, and
Yes.
you know,
this
she
is
studies that, so it's okay.
yeah.
All right, what do we got next? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so China put out its attack dogs.
As usual.
The people running and saying Japan bad. Look at how bad Japan is. Like, we good.
Yeah.
This is Li Jinping, which is a propagandist for the Chinese government. Works
Yes.
for CGTN. Says Japan decided to dump its radioactive nuclear contaminated water into the Pacific Ocean for the next 30 to 40 years. And then she freaks out. And she's getting more like, yeah, well, yeah. She's really appealing to that kind of like alt scene, trying to get people on both the alt left and alt right to get all riled up about stuff. It's just a disinfo. She's literally a disinfo.
Yeah.
Bot more or less.
Yeah.
Working for propaganda. Anyway, the point about this is that they released all this stuff like a torrent, and it's all over the internet right now.
Yeah.
It's political cartoons, which are never funny, by the way.
Now,
You
China
notice
doesn't
that?
have a good cartoon game,
No.
you know?
I mean, that's so lame.
Yep.
Like, even if it's not funny.
No, it's not. Yeah. Anyway, it's an attempt.
Is it?
It's an attempt.
But this is interesting. This editorial from China Daily. It says, Japan is making a short-sighted and selfish decision that the world is expected to pay the price for, while you guys are releasing probably
More.
10 times the
10
amount.
more than 10 times.
From one.
Yeah, exactly.
One plant.
Yeah.
I just thought their cartoon was so ironic because this clip that you sent me just had come out. This is in Shandong province.
Yeah.
And it's black raw sewage being poured into the ocean.
So this is just a normal citizen. She's like walking on the beach and she's like, what the hell is this? It's low tide and this is usually hidden.
Yes.
Okay. And you know what? The pipe broke.
Yes.
And that's why you can see this oily, disgusting, untreated discharge. This is in Dalian.
Yeah.
Different province, right?
Liaoning, yeah.
So this is also on the beach, like a black discharge.
Swimming.
Yeah. If you take a look, this discharge just being pumped into the sea. But the interesting thing I found about the one in Shandong, the one on the left here, is that you see the pipe broke.
Yeah.
And that gave it away because usually you can see the pipe goes all the way out there. You can see it goes all the way out into the sea and it's usually submerged. So they can pump it there without anyone noticing. It broke on the beach though, unfortunately.
Now everyone sees it.
Now people can see. Yeah, so, China's pretty bad when it comes to pumping garbage into the ocean.
Oh my gosh, the amount of litter and pollution everywhere, the amount of raw sewage, chemicals.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even want to know.
Yeah, so just
I can't believe we swam in those waters.
Yeah, we did though.
We did.
Yeah.
I think I'm growing limbs.
Sure. That's life, man. Like you don't get to.
Oh, one time I was in Inner Mongolia in Baotou, outside the steel plant area.
Yeah.
They were pumping like these pipes. I can't even make my arms that big. The pipes were just like, you could fit like 20 people in the mouth of them.
Yeah.
And they were pumping this black, horrific sludge that smelled like the end of Satan's asshole.
Okay.
Like sulfur and fire. And it was being just pumped into this lake. Like
Right.
the most amount you've ever seen. And it wasn't a tourist part of the lake.
Yeah.
But the other side was.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is it? It was steel runoff.
Yeah, of course.
That's going into the water. It's killing people.
Well, I mean, you saw from our own footage.
Yeah.
They got that nuclear power plant right there, right across from the resort where people are supposed to be chilling out.
Sure.
It's surely not healthy.
Yeah. Nuclear is a different thing. But
I know,
like,
but
when it's
there's-
raw pollution.
Yeah, the raw pollution's awful, but there's still like, you saw the air quality.
Yeah, it's not
You saw
related
the-
to that, obviously. That's
you
just
saw the-
there's factories there.
Yeah, all the stuff's being pumped, the tritium's being pumped into the bay there.
Yeah, right there.
So,
for sure.
if it's really that much of a concern. Anyway, of course, you got people.
Yeah, if they're worried about it.
Yeah,
then-
you got people jumping in here to take
Right.
advantage of the situation, right? So,
Oh man, this is gross.
yeah, so the night of the Fukushima nuclear discharge, people took advantage of the panic to sell seafood while crying.
These are live streams in China. You have to understand the stream culture. They sell products over live streams.
Yeah.
And these people are going like, I've been working my whole life, and you guys will never be able to buy seafood again because everything's over.
Yeah, so buy this fresh Japanese caught, seafood
yeah.
before it gets contaminated.
Or, from this area.
Yeah.
From that ocean.
Yeah,
Like they're fishermen that caught it. The
Yeah.
Chinese fishermen. And they're like freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, you're never going to be able to buy the seafood again. You'll never taste seafood again.
Yeah,
So they're
exactly.
trying to like jack up the price and sell their whole stock right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Super slimy.
One thing that's kind of funny is I was seeing somebody was making a joke because the seafood restaurant downstairs from them has always said that they've got fresh fish from Japan, but they finally admitted that they don't because they're like none of our seafood comes from Japan.
Ever been from Japan?
No, it's always Chinese, local seafood or caught somewhere else.
Oh, it's such scams.
It is. I thought I'd throw in a little more of this.
I mean, everyone's scamming with this, and again, I don't even blame the people though, because they have no media source. It's an authoritarian state.
You just get one source of information. And like rumors.
It leaves room for rumors.
Yeah.
Because there's not alternative opinions.
Exactly.
They're just buying the shit out of this.
Now this is where it gets ridiculous. Okay, I'll get us out of here. You can narrate.
Okay. Cut Japan out of the map. Japan has vanished from this world. Cut Japan out of the map. It messed up my kid. So this kid is freaking out.
Yeah, the kid's crying because of this whole Fukushima nuclear thing.
Because they're blasting it all over the media. Like, it's doomsday stuff. The CCP loved it, but they went too far with it.
Oh, they go too far. Like I said, like the school, the teachers are going to be telling the kids.
Yeah.
The parents are telling the kids. Japan's so irresponsible and ruining the
You're telling
the
a kid that the world's over because of Japan.
Yeah. Oh, Japan is releasing this nuclear stuff's going to kill us all or whatever. This is the result. It's it's irresponsible. You know what I mean?
Not like a lot of people in the chat seem very shocked at this, like how this would go this far. This is par for the course in China.
Yeah.
Nationalism's wild, dude. They poison the kids' brains.
I absolutely hate it.
It's so bad. I once had a kid take it out. It's the exact same map. And he went and he circled the whole world and he goes, all of this is China's. I was like, you ruined the map, dude, with a marker.
Yeah. That nationalism garbage has really ruined a lot of innocent kids. Like, I couldn't stand it because I used to teach kids at some point.
Yeah.
And the absolute horrible things that they would say and that they would be taught, it just pissed me off.
You don't blame the kids either.
No,
like
it's
that
not
kid
their
that's
fault.
crying, you don't call him a clown. That's the clown parents.
Yeah, it's clown.
It's a little
clown,
kid.
It's clown world. It's clown China trying to force kids to cry because of something that China does worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so dumb.
It's insane.
And like this,
we with one plant out of 13 released more than the Fukushima, and then all of them together is probably like 100 times that. But guess what? Japan just ruined China and the whole world, and you're gonna die to an 8-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And this person looks like they sprayed themselves with pepper spray and mace. You know what I mean? Doesn't it? Doesn't it look like that?
They do.
Yeah. Like,
but this is all over. The people are streaming. They're
Yeah.
bursting into tears because they heard about it. Because China told them again.
yeah.
I'm not gonna have as much sympathy for the adults because they like have a choice to get on a VPN and see the truth.
Yes.
I know they won't, but like the kids, I mean, they're innocent.
Yeah.
You know, they're being brainwashed,
Exactly.
and that's the next generation coming on up doing the same thing.
This again is their frustration because the thing is building up to the release of this nuclear water thing. The Chinese government has been relentlessly releasing like propaganda about Japan should not do this. Japan will face repercussions.
Oh,
all this. So the thing is, the Chinese people are now once again foolishly putting stock in what their government's saying.
After they've been betrayed how many times?
Yeah,
now?
I mean, like remember last time with the whole Taiwan thing when Nancy Pelosi landed?
Yeah, they're like
China was
that's
like,
it.
Yeah, China was like, if they cross that final red line, it's over.
If Nancy Pelosi touches down, remember the people on the, and they're like, our government will go to war with Taiwan.
So Nancy Pelosi touches down, nothing happens. Everyone's crying and breaking their tables. Remember all that shit?
Yeah.
They're all like sitting there.
I made a video about that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And this is again the same thing, right? Like it shows how impotent the Chinese government is, and this is pent up frustration.
It is.
They cannot understand.
That's what it is manifesting.
Yeah, they cannot understand how this has happened after their government has been blustering and chest pumping all this bullshit all the time about how Japan will taste our wrath or whatever.
There's a lot of salt in those tears. Just probably sell it.
Yeah, collect it. Yeah. Anyway, don't spray yourself with pepper spray.
Yeah.
It literally looks like that.
It looks like she got maced.
Yeah.
And is drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so a lot of this stuff is going around about people crying.
Crimea nuclear waste plant wastewater.
Anyway, it's too late, okay, because it's already started, so it's done. But the Chinese government's still putting things out like, if Japan doesn't cancel this, blah, blah, blah. What are you talking about? It's done, bro. It's done.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's terrible that China releases so much horrible wastewater.
You know what China reminds me of right now?
What?
Like a guy stuck on a Ferris wheel.
Oh, you mean like this?
Because there's nothing you can do.
So anyway, NetEase, which is like a massive web portal, in China, they released a post on their Bilibili account, which got them suspended. And I suspect that somebody hacked their Bilibili.
You suspect?
Yes.
You suspect?
Because they put this out. It
amazing.
says, in view of the discharge of nuclear sewage from neighboring countries, I think we should prepare early, such as don't marry and have children.
Okay. Can I preface this?
Yeah, exactly.
This is everything that Winston's about to read is all the government stuff that they're making people do right now
Yes,
by
exactly.
law.
Don't pollute the next generation of the motherland. 2, save more and spend less in case of accidents. Don't buy a house or car. People may not live that long.
Tank the economy.
Exactly.
Tank the birth rate.
Try to lie flat at home. Don't go out and run around. Don't go to work and leave it open. Yeah.
This is the nightmare
Yes.
of the Chinese government, and somebody hacked the official account and put
NetEase and put
it's
this
the
in there.
opposite mandates of the CCP
Yeah.
right now. It's pretty amazing.
So obviously they got suspended and all this got erased and scrubbed, but it's just funny to see.
No, it's not projection. They're being sarcastic.
Yeah.
This is like a protest of the
Yeah,
government.
somebody hacked it and put this in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Definitely
very
hack, for
interesting.
sure.
Yeah.
Unless
Okay.
somebody that works there got real mad.
So it's time now for our next segment, which is the Wumao Corner, where we talk about the haters, right? And what they're up to. And you can learn a lot about China's government by looking at what the haters are focusing on, because they always go after the sensitive topics.
They do.
You know what I mean?
They do.
But we thought we'd inject a little humor into this and show you another one of these like artifacts.
These are crazy. Museums full of this stuff around
Yeah.
China.
Everywhere you go now.
Every time Xi Jinping steps on something or touches something, it goes in a museum behind a glass box.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What do we got today?
Well, on the 25th of December 2015, President Xi Jinping came and used this keyboard to issue a Weibo post to celebrate the new year. So he typed his like, 同志们好, and
Yeah.
press enter
Yeah.
on this keyboard, and now it's in a glass case. I mean, come on, guys.
He's not dead. Like
Yeah.
he's not. It's not like Abraham Lincoln or something.
Yeah, even then, like,
Yeah,
I
even
don't
then.
think people care about Abraham Lincoln's toilet paper.
Yeah, of course not.
You know,
No.
it's just like, why every bloody thing that this guy touches becomes some kind of artifact?
So
It's
it's
crazy
shit stuff too.
It's crazy. It's this weird deity worship shit.
It's a shit keyboard.
It is. It's a Lenovo, like very entry
After
level.
he touched it, it's worth less.
Exactly. Anyway, just thought we'd put that in there.
No. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh yeah, so we got to talk about this. Friend of the show, another channel, No Fuckers. He does Russia content.
Yes, he's the man. We're
Yeah.
a friend of the show.
Yeah,
Really.
exactly.
He does things about Russia kind of like we do about China.
And apparently, this map was used in a Mr. Beast video. He's
Correct.
like the biggest YouTuber.
Yes.
Right. So let's look at this map.
Also, a few other ones that people have noticed in this video is that Taiwan is a part of China. So yes, I'm waiting for the Serpent ZA and Laowai 86 video on this topic. We have to hear, your input. And also,
Okay, so let's look at the map.
Yeah, let's go back to the map. So yeah, he asked for our input, so we're going to give him our
So I
input.
looked at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is stay here. I looked at it. So this Mr. Beast map used many things that were wrong, including my
yeah.
favorite part, which was
is-
the No Fuckers video.
Yeah.
Roman pointed out that they pointed out the country of Georgia, right, next to Russia.
What is the point of this map?
It's just some crap. It was like all the places that it. Let me pull up the Mr. Beast thing.
Okay.
It was on the people are going wild about it.
Okay.
Extreme survival challenge or some crap. It doesn't
Well,
matter.
okay.
It was
He
like
just
different
used the map.
territories, right,
Okay.
around the world. The point about this
Yeah.
is that people are getting all riled up, but there's so many things wrong with it. For example, the country Georgia they use the flag of the state of Georgia in America.
Oh, wow.
So the whole thing is just wrong. So yes, they showed that Taiwan is a part of China, but they did many things wrong. And I think I'm gonna be honest with you. No offense to Mr. Beast, but like a kids channel that just puts bullshit content out all the time.
Yeah.
That's just quite high, as we say, like quick fast food type content is probably not going to spend a whole lot of effort trying to get a map correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was my perspective on it. However, if you're going to put a map on a screen, don't you dare make Taiwan a part of China, because that's wrong.
Yeah, this is unfortunately the way things are going, because China pushes real hard for maps out there to include Taiwan, and that's like in educational institutes. We covered it where that...
Probably wasn't deliberate here, though.
I'm sure, but the thing is, China makes it deliberate because they make all the source material to have that.
Bingo.
If you go and try and search for just world map and you download or you purchase a globe or something from China, it's going to have Taiwan as part of China.
Yes.
So you may unknowingly be, propagating Chinese propaganda.
Yes.
Remember we did that whole thing about Leapfrog?
Yeah.
They had like a globe because they do educational toys and stuff. But because they're made in China, China will not allow them to make a map that doesn't include Taiwan as part of China.
In fact, if you click it, it gave you information about China.
Yeah.
It made it so Taiwan was in China.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to No Fuckers. We love them. NKFRZ, great channel if you are interested in a perspective of a Russian that ran away from Russia during the war.
Yeah.
And covers all the kind of political problems that Russia's going through, similar to what we do with China. Go give him a subscribe. He's huge. We've been on there. You can check out our interviews as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he's got a PS5.
Roman rules.
Waiting for the Serpent ZA and Laoway86 video on this topic.
Now you got one.
We have to hear, your input. And also...
All right.
Yeah. So now this is, again, you see these come up all the time in China. Little blips of protests. This has got to do with the floods.
Yeah, so this is this flood compensation that people weren't given what they were promised. Of course, yet again, over and over again, huge flood hits. China's like, no, don't worry, local governments will take care of you, and they don't. People storm the government building. You'll see a lot of this. This happened a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's always little blips, and that's why the Communist Party can maintain control, is because little protests like this are very quickly stamped out, and then any mention of them or any videos like this being spread around get immediately taken down.
Oh yeah, if you ask someone like, because in
someone that lives in that
China.
Neighborhood, they won't even know about it.
Dude, I was about to say, if you ask someone like 20 minutes away, they probably don't know about
No,
this.
they don't. Yeah.
Right. Like a storming of a Capitol building in a city.
Yeah.
And no, they wouldn't know about it.
No, they don't know about it because all the news is blocked. So unless you were there or happened to pass by, you wouldn't know that this actually even happened. And this happens a lot in China, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thousands of times a year.
If you could take all these little protest clips that we get and put them all together, like in a panoramic view, it would look like the whole of China was, currently under protest. Yeah. What's going on here?
This is in Shanghai, they have a book display of Xi Jinping thought, of course. The most fascinating book out there. Xi Jinping Thought is being so heavily promoted, even in other countries. A giant 2-volume book called The Governance of Xi Jinping, and then Xi Jinping Thought.
Xi Jinping Thought? Question mark. It's like a kid's story.
Yeah.
Xi Jinping.
Thought?
Yeah. Previously, we thought he was like an inanimate object. He thought, it's a story about how he once said like, oh, I'd like pork for dinner.
Yeah.
That's the whole story. He thought once.
Thought?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, they have this display, and they actually had to hire a guard to make sure that nobody does anything. It's getting to the point where not just the bodyguards of Xi Jinping are very important, or like the people in his entourage, but it's his books as well. And these displays, I had a friend who went to a certain territory where you definitely shouldn't be seeing this book.
Yeah.
And it was everywhere.
This book is like a plague.
Yes.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Imagine there was like a mandatory Biden book that everybody had to read, and it was everywhere you went. Every library, there's a huge display.
The facade of every shop.
All the bookshops, there's like huge walls of this stuff. Everywhere you go, you're going to a hotel, instead of a Bible in there, there's like a Biden book. Yeah. That's what's going on with this shit. It's religious in China.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Get rid of that thing. It's ugly too.
Yeah, it's a shit book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to give you a blurb that was written up by Doc Southington and Dragonilla.
Yes, now this is our community, guys, which we love dearly, over on Discord and also on the subreddit.
Yes. We are hosting a fan art contest, open to all skill levels, with the theme, You Gotta Understand China.
Oh, yes.
You gotta understand China.
Inspired by the popular sound bites. Capture China's essence from the biased perspective of the CCP and its shills. Due to a slow news spread within our community, we extended the deadline from the end of August to the end of September. So you guys got another month to participate.
Month,
And we finally have the prize available. Show us your artistry through any medium, such as drawing, Photoshop, AI, or even something more unique, which we have seen examples of things that are even more unique, which are hilarious.
Yeah, very funny.
Final submission will need to be an image file of a JPEG or a PNG.
Yeah.
Submit your entry via Reddit, which is reddit.com/r/ADVChina, or the dedicated fan art contest Discord channel for all patron supporters. And that's easier if you are a patron supporter to submit there because everyone can see it.
Yeah. By the way, don't get intimidated by this fantastic piece of art behind us. We do have some professional artists in the community, but it's not about professional art.
It's a democratic vote.
It's like, but we have different categories as well.
Yes.
We'll have, doesn't matter if you're amateur art and you can like just doodle
show
a thing.
the other examples.
Yeah,
This
we'll
is just
show
one.
This one I love though, don't you?
It's freaking amazing.
If you could see this in full res, which we're saving it for later, but take a look. It's like a foreigner being led by the hand. His Chinese girlfriend
yeah.
is going to be his like guide to this amazing China with like solar energy and beautiful
It's
skyscrapers
amazing.
and a rat goose. You know what I
There's
mean?
a lot of details.
There's a lot of it's a beautiful picture. We have like that's not an art
You got
installation.
exposed, bro.
Yeah, but that's
How
not
did some people get a hold of that image? It's almost like someone deliberately posted that somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. We've got people setting up dioramas down here.
Oh, that is literally Puppet Wang Yi in front of a bunch of pasta. And by the way, they sent me a blow by blow of what everything means, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
So someone made a physical diorama.
Yeah, exactly. I like the harem globetrotters.
That's just incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
we have these are a few examples, but like, I want you guys to join because it's free to join.
Yeah.
You can submit via the subreddit, but you could also, if you're a patron, even on the lowest tier, you're on the Discord.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're going to compile all of them. We're going to show them at the end of the month, at the end of September.
Yeah.
And we're going to have you guys are going to vote on the winners.
Yes.
Right? Not us.
Not us, no.
Right. And submit your entry via Reddit or the dedicated fan art contest Discord channel for all patron supporters. And all Reddit entries should have contest entry in the title, and therefore we can kind of divvy them up.
Yeah, and then the prize is going to be fantastic. You going to read about that?
Yeah, the winner will have a place on this year's China Show Royal Rumble, which we are so excited about. We do this every Christmas.
Yeah.
It's all the characters from that year's lore of the China Show.
Yeah.
You have people like
What?
Subway Wonder.
Oh yeah, we got like
Your Wong. You get freaking. Wow, you had to play that one.
of course I did. Yeah.
You have freaking just rip through some people.
Well, we're gonna have
We got Yao Jian there. We're gonna have freaking us. We're gonna duke it out.
Yeah.
As usual. We got Subway Wonder Man will be there.
Yeah.
Was he even? He wasn't in there last.
Oh, he was.
Oh, he was.
He
Yeah,
was. He was in the last one.
We won't tell you who won the last one in case you haven't watched it. We got John T.
Yeah.
Great.
We have Rick.
Oh yeah, we do, of course.
Wow, so good.
How does he love it?
He actually held out a long time. Remember?
Yeah, but we
Rick?
don't give it away because
Yeah.
some people haven't seen the first one. They'll
Yeah.
probably want to go see it. Anyway, it's a wrestling match where we do live commentary. We don't watch it ahead of time.
No, we got to do it live.
Yes.
And it's obviously computer generated, but it's fantastic.
But it's very funny, and all the
like-
characters look real.
Yeah, so it's like you're watching a WWE match.
Sure. So we showed you some of last year's characters that'll be in there, but there's going to be new characters in there this year. And if you win the art contest, you will be one of them.
Yes.
So you'll be in the Royal Rumble. The
Yeah,
clash
there'll
between
be
the
a
lore.
first and second place, and so
Yes.
there'll be more than one person,
Yes.
joining. Yeah.
The clash will be between the lore characters and shills from the show that we do every Christmas. The top 3 winners will also be shown on the show. So we'll have first, second, and third prize. So get ready to do that. Send over your creativity. You don't have to be an artist. It's more about being funny, to be honest.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Or inspired.
Yeah.
Right? So check it out.
And don't be intimidated. Like I said, we have some professional artists, but they're going to be amateur categories too.
Yes. Doc Slothin has said, old Doc here to request no, demand more art contest submissions. Bring forth the memes and the lube eagles.
Yes.
Matt asked nicely, but I'm not playing.
Sure. So this week, Monday, we spoke about this ridiculous fake AI thing that they did.
Yes.
So a lot of you already knew what this was, right?
Yeah. You sleuths.
Yeah. So it turns out it's just an app you can pay for. Okay. Let's take a look. Here
It's called Wonder Studio.
Yeah, Wonder Studio. So here you can see like one of their promotional videos showing how it works. And you can even see the stupid like test dummy like stock figure that's part of this app, right?
Yes.
You can see how they've taken runners and turned them into robots like that. You can see
So the stock test dummy, they didn't even use, because that's probably a trial asset, let's be honest.
Yeah, it is probably like the trial version or something. So
It was low res. Remember how low res it was?
Yeah. We actually went to go take a look. You can buy this for like $16 or whatever a month.
Yeah.
So the Chinese government is so cheap that for their international like AI propaganda, they're using a cheap app that you can buy.
Yeah. From an American Serbian company.
Yeah, it's an American Serbian company to say this is China's AI prowess.
Right.
Isn't it ridiculous?
It's so embarrassing.
It's incredibly embarrassing. China can't make anything. And they claim that this is their AI. It's got nothing to do with China at all.
No, it's
Not
unrelated.
Not even this stupid filter app.
You as a viewer, you can go buy it and make your own.
Yeah.
You know? Go for it.
I mean, why would you though? It looks awful.
It might be okay.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay, so let's move over to worldview right now. Okay,
Yes.
Worldview is where we talk about everything in the world, specifically with regards to China. Okay, and we're going to start out with some security cameras. Here's a little bit of an interesting thing. The reason I went to China in the first place is because of security cameras.
Nice.
I went there because I was the IT guy to go and make sure that all the cameras and DVR cards and stuff would work with the systems back home.
Mm-hmm.
So that I got flown to Shenzhen and I went to this exact market. That's my first experience in China, was going to places like this. I filmed all this footage myself as well here. And the reason I'm talking about this is that 99.9% of all the security cameras in the world come from here. Okay, if you're in a shop, if someone set up some kind of baby monitor or whatever, it all comes from here. Okay, where cheap security cameras are made. Of course, you can pay more and get better stuff.
Yeah, you should say there are real brands.
But they all kind of run off, like, if you look at these cameras in the background, they're all kind of similar. The consumer-grade cameras that you buy, if you just want a security camera, unless you're buying Ring or one of the big name brands like that, if you're buying something that's got a random name,
one. Let's be
yeah, it's coming from here. And they're all based off the same, like, hacked Internet of Things type system, okay? So you put it up in your house, and then you go to like a web page or something, or you have the app, and then you can see what's going on, right? But it's all based off of like hackery. It's based off of systems that were copied and then copied and then copied, because all of them are based off the same sort of copy system.
I think I know what you're leading up to.
What? Oh, yeah. So the thing is, the functions are kind of the same. You can look at them, you can listen. They've got microphones built in. They also have speakers built in, so you can talk to people. Right? So you're looking maybe like through a baby monitor and you want to tell your kid to,
hey, honey.
Be quiet. Or, like someone's walking in your yard, you can say like, hey, what are you doing? Or, leave the package.
When my kids were babies, I used to use baby monitors and I would do that. But I always made sure not to buy Chinese ones.
Right. Especially not internet connected.
No.
Yeah. Be careful with that. There was actually,
for sure.
Remember, hackers were
little
hacking.
kids.
Remember, Russian hackers were hacking into those baby monitors and swearing at the kids and stuff. Do you remember that? Yes. It's like parents would walk into the room and there'd be like Russian swear words at their little baby.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. That happened. That's real. You can look it up.
We can show you a better application of that here.
Yeah. So what's happened is in Russia, of course, they're getting all their security cameras from here. And Ukraine Day came along.
This is incredible.
So Ukraine Day comes along. Ukrainian hackers hacked these Chinese, CCTV security cameras and started playing the Ukrainian national anthem. Of course,
Moscow on the bottom.
Yeah. Like, what's going on here?
Some people aren't even mad. I like it.
No, some people are like, what is this? They're like, hang on, what's going on?
How amazing is this?
Yeah.
Ukraine is the GOAT.
Yeah.
That is such a beautiful way to say go after yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's amazing.
This dude's recording it here. This guy's like, what? Obviously, they're like, screw this, so they're coming to take down the cameras. Get this out of here. Shut this thing up. Yay.
Shout out to Ukraine. That is brilliant.
Yeah, it's a good way of hacking things.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you just got invaded. What can we do? Let's play our Ukrainian national anthem across the whole country.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
So yeah, anyway, this is a bit of a warning to people who buy these cheap consumer gadgets from China.
Yes.
Is I've got a lot of background in specifically these security cameras, and I can tell you that there are so many back doors that have been grandfathered in because they copy a copy of a copy.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Easy.
somewhere down that line, like for instance, the admin password is going to be the same for all of them.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, it's admin, and then 1, 2, 3.
Chinese electronics are chock full of vulnerabilities like that. If you got to be careful when you buy cheap Chinese electronics.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, if you do go ahead and buy something like that, be prepared that, it might be compromised, you know? Like, don't do it is what I'm saying. Get something that's worthwhile. In Chinese, they have a saying, 便宜没好货,好货不便宜, which means a cheap thing isn't good.
Yeah.
Okay? And a good thing isn't cheap.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And it's true.
You get what you pay for is kind of translated.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. But I hear that a lot in China. When you buy a little Huajianbei gadget or something, it'll be all cool and flashy, but it's actually just rubbish.
Shit.
Yeah, so don't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's time now, everybody, for Yamcha. This is our questions and answers, where we answer your questions and you question our answers.
Yep.
And it's that time of the show. It's Friday. We get to relax a little bit. I get to loosen my tie. I am, by the way, pretty much healed now. I'm back to normal, more or less. I can do it a couple more days until I'm 100%, but I'm doing pretty well.
You're doing fine.
And it's time to answer. So for those of you who are not watching live and who do not watch this over the weekend, we cut this out on Monday. But you can always catch it if you are a patron.
That's right.
We upload the full, including the Q&A part of the show, every week onto Patreon, so you can always sit through the whole thing if you missed it over the weekend. Anyway, for those of you who are not sticking around, stay awesome, and we'll catch you on hopefully Sunday for our special Xiabanhou, and see you then.
Keep your knees in the breeze. From Turd Ferguson, actually.
Oh, good, yeah.